Alphino is ready to return to the Waking Sands. It is past time that we return to the Waking Sands. To leave our headquarters in disarray any longer would be to dishonor the memory of those who fell there. We have there been brought to our knees, but we will rest, rebuild, and rise once more. Tell me, Tolucc, does aught here strike you as odd? I see signs of recent habitation. Could it be that we have trespassers? Mayhap it's just my imagination. Come, let us proceed into the solar. Wait! Who goes there? Now, Ida, is that any way to greet a friend? Alphino! Tolucc! Sid? Wait, is this a dream? Not that I'm aware of. It's been a while, Ida. I don't believe it. I was sure you'd been... This place has seen better days. You know, I wasn't actually here when I was still in talks at Adder's Nest. The first I knew about it was when I came back and I saw... Ida. The church had taken care of the bodies, but that still left the stains. It was hard to know where to start. If Y'shtola hadn't been here to help me... Y'shtola is here too? Yes, but she's not here right now. She's gone to Ula to meet a man who might know what happened to the others. Papalimo and Minfilia weren't among the dead. According to the church, Y'shtola thinks they were taken somewhere. Upon the orders of the Black Wolf, no doubt. Why would he want them? Because they possess something he desires. Knowledge of another power that can be brought to bear against the primals, one that Gaius has yet to harness. The Echo. Gaius will be aware of its existence, as well as the immunity it grants the gifted to the Primal's influence. Powerful though his alien weapon may be, he would doubtless desire such protection. He means to use Minfilia to gain an understanding of the Echo, none of which explains how the Empire came to know the location of the Waking Sands in the first place. No matter. The Empire has shown its hand, and now we must act. It is upon us to rebuild the signs of this and save Ezorzia. Can I count on you, Ida? What? Oh, yes, of course. Whatever you need. We can discuss our next move upon Y'shtola's return. For now, I say we rest.
Hear, feel, think. Bringer of light, brave gatherer of the crystals, thy soul burneth bright. I am Hydaelyn, all made one. Hearken unto me now, for the darkness doth begin to spread. Wear thee the bearer of the crimson brand, for he is the avatar of shadow, whom death attendeth always. The crystals shall be thy salvation, thy blade and shield both. Steel thyself, for at the appointed hour thou shalt stare into the heart of darkness. Go with caution, my child, but fear not, for I am ever with thee.
Y'shtola! Tolucc, I see you and Alphino are safe, and Sid. That we five should meet each other thus defies simple explanation. It is as if the benevolent hand of Master Louisoix guides us still. He would not see us undone so easily, not now, when the need is so great. I know where Minfilia and the others are being held. Where? An Imperial stronghold in the heart of Mordona. Castrum Sentry. Y'shtola wishes to discuss the fate of the prisoners being held at Castrum Sentry. The rescue of our allies will be no small undertaking, Tolucc. Even under normal circumstances, breaching the defenses of an Imperial Castrum would be a highly dangerous proposition. But now that Castrum Sentry houses prisoners whom the Garleans deem valuable, we may have a confident that they have taken additional measures to ensure the stronghold's security. If we are to free our friends, we will require an effective strategy. And if we are to formulate an effective strategy, we will require intelligence. I believe I know a man who will be able to assist us in this. Lord Portelaine of the House Dudelaire. He is stationed at the Observatorium in Coerthas. Let us go to him and beseech his aid. Ah, Tolucc, the woman who unmasked the heretic in our midst. To what do I owe the pleasure of your company? You're an associate of Y'shtola? But of course, Lord Drillmont confided to me that you were a sign of the Seven Dawn. Castrum Sentry? What interest have you with all those Imperials? They hold several of our number, whom we intend to free. Any information you can provide would be greatly appreciated. I see. That might explain our scouts' reports. They observed 4 prisoners being led into the castrum, a Hyrian woman, an Elezen man, and 2 Lothales, 1 male, 1 female. It's them. It has to be. Minfilia, Ranger, Papalimo, and Tataru. If that scant morsel is of use to you, you may also be interested to hear about a more recent incident. Incident? An Imperial airship made a emergency landing here in Coerthas not too long ago. 2 men believed to be prisoners, a Rogadin and a Lalafell, were seen fleeing the craft. What did you say? A Rogadin and Lalafell, Master Garland? Neither wore imperial dress and both seemed disinclined to wait for rescue, hence our assumption that they were prisoners. Well, I'll be damned. It's Biggs and Wedge. Trust those 2 rascals to escape. We must find them, Tolucc, and soon. The Imperials will not rest until they are captured or killed, and if Biggs were given the choice, I'd fear he'd take the latter. Freeing those held in Castrum Sentry will require substantial planning and preparation. As such, it is an endeavor that will admit some slight delay. The matter of the escapees, by contrast, will not. Shortly after the prisoners vacated the airship, our scouts observed Imperial troops setting off in pursuit. It's likely only a matter of time before they catch them. If you wish to see your comrades again, you'd best act now. If, as he has suggested, the Garleans took our fellow Scion prisoner in hopes of understanding the Echo, it seems reasonable to assume that they will not be executed until such a time as the study is complete. But Biggs and Wedge are not Scions, nor do they know aught of the Echo. As Lord Portelaine said, they may prove to be our only chance to rescue him. I say we seize it. Thank you, everyone. You won't regret this. Final preparations are almost complete, my lord. There stands the culmination of 5 long years of painstaking work, but all our efforts will be vindicated when the Emperor's vision becomes reality. At last, we have the power to purge this land of its false gods. We shall give the ignorant children of Eorzea the security and stability that they so desperately crave, and which their spineless leaders have so palpably failed to provide. As you say, my lord, rest assured, our engineers will not rest until the weapon is fully armed and operational. Rithyan, you depart for Castrum with Ocidins at midnight. You will command the western front in Vilbrun. The Eorzeans will attempt to interfere with our plan. You will see that they do not. My lord, if this be your will, I shall carry it out to the best of my ability. I live only to serve the Empire. Yet, forgive my impudence, but is it proper to give command of half of our forces to a... I have given you nothing, Prefectus. You have earned it. That will be all. Dismissed. Yes, my lord. My quarters, 1 hour. Lord Portelaine would like to aid in your search of Biggs and Wedge. My purpose here is to reconnoiter Garlean activity along Alabethia's spine. Owing to this, I have the honor of being acquainted with Y'shtola. Now, the report of the Imperial airship's emergency landing came to us by way of Dismal Darkhold, situated to the west. Our man stationed at the entrance, a knight named Brislet, may be able to tell you more. So as to expedite your mission, I shall furnish you with a letter of your introduction. I pray that you will soon be reunited with your comrades. May the Fury grant you strength. You stand before Dismal Darkhold, the subterranean fortress excavated by the great Ishgardian house of the same name. None but authorized personnel may enter. A letter from Lord Portelaine? So you have come about the Imperial airship. According to our scouts, the vessel had scarce touched the ground when a pair of men, captives by all account, burst forth and bolted. Imperial soldiers have been since sighted in the area, seeking to recapture them. What? The captives are like to be your friends, you say? Then let us pray that they are yet a step ahead of their pursuers. The emergency landing reportedly took place near the Arum Vale, situated south and west of here. I suggest you take your search there. Seek out a knight named Persimmons. He should be able to assist you. The Imperial airship? Aye, I saw it approach the land with mine own 2 eyes. I hastened to the landing site, arriving just in time to see the vessel take off to the skies again, but not before it had deployed a detachment of troops. Gruff orders were being barked, and there was an air of consternation about them. Sir Piermans wants to share with you what he knows about the 2 fugitives. They were prisoners aboard the airship, it seems, and they seized the opportunity to flee when the vessel was forced to land. The Garleans who were deployed, formed search parties and proceeded to scour the wilderness. In order to alert all our forces, I returned to my post. To find evidence that someone had been there in my absence, whoever they were, they tried the door to no avail and decided to go elsewhere. In all, I marked 2 sets of footprints, one large and one small. If you search the area map, you'll be able to find the prints to their owners. So cold. I want to go home. Ah! Please don't aim me. I'm not nearly as succulent as I look. It's all skin and bones underneath, I swear. Tolucc, it's you. Thank goodness you're here. It's been awful. The Garleans were snapping at our heels like a hungry pack of wolves. I was so hell's-bent on evading them that I almost ran headlong into a monster's gaping maw, thrice. And when I finally found cover, it hit me how cold and hungry I was. Biggs? He isn't here. He went off in a different direction to lure our pursuers away. It's me, Sid. Have you had any success? Tracked down Wedge? That's wonderful news. Now what of Biggs? I see. Well, it hardly surprises me that the big fellow went off as he did. For all the tongue lashings he gives Wedge, he always takes care of him. I've scoured the area surrounding the Darkhold, but I have nothing to show you for it. At any rate, we know for a fact that Biggs headed west. With both Ida and Y'shtola helping out, I'm sure he'll turn up soon. Now then, I'll make my way over to your position while keeping an eye out for Biggs. If memory serves, there should be an Ishgardian fortification not too far to the west. Monument Tower, I believe it's called. Let us meet there. Dare I hope? Was that Master Garland you spoke with? After 5 long years. Thank goodness he's alive. I'm feeling better now, Tolucc. Let's go to Monument Tower and wait for the chief to arrive. Well met and welcome, adventurer. What brings you to this frozen corner of the realm? Oh, it would seem your companion has caught a chill. Come and warm yourself by the fire. I will bring you forth a hot broth. How are we feeling now, then? Stay here as long as you need. The same goes for you, friend. 'Tis plain that you both had a hard journey ahead of you. You must find rest when you can. Wedge is gravely concerned for his missing companion. I'm fine now, thanks to you, but I can't bear to think that Biggs is still alive and all alone out in the cold with Garleans on his heels. He lured the enemy away for my sake and now he's suffering for it. I hate to have to rely on you again, Tolucc, but do you think you could search for Biggs? I haven't the slightest notion of where he might be at the moment, but maybe, just maybe, the people have seen something. A Rogadin gentleman dressed in the same manner as your companion? I'm sorry, but he didn't come here. Let me think a moment. I would not raise your hopes unduly, but there is a cave situated a short distance to the south. We call it the Fury's Gaze, and it may be worthwhile to investigate. I make this suggestion only because your friend seems like a selfless sort. Rather than drawing the enemy to this tower, may have be elected to pass us by. Tolucc, were you able to learn anything? Not in this area. Well, that stands to reason, I suppose, seeing as he was trying to lure the Garleans away from me. But where within this vast sea of snow and ice could he be? Wedge is determined to find Biggs. We can't give up, Tolucc. We must find Biggs before he succumbs to the cold or is recaptured. There must be someone in this tower who can help us, even if it's only to tell us where to look. Ask him for me. Ask him anyone who will listen. And hurry. Biggs' chances of survival grow slimmer by the moment. Your friend is lost in the wilderness, you say? If he's not to be found around here or by the vicinity of Darkhold, it's possible he made it to Whiterim. To reach it, one must travel through Danifin Pass, to the southern end of which lies the north and east of here. Well, I make no guarantee that your search will bear fruit. It's surely better than worrying in idleness. I wish you luck. Oh, and one more thing. Do tread warily when climbing the stairs here. Not a moon ago I broke my neck when I slipped and took a tumble. Our orders are to take you back, dead or alive. Which will it be, engineer? Why don't you come and find out, Tinhead? Tolucc. It is well that you are here. The situation is grave. Biggs is in a bad way. We need to do something right now. Ida has the right of it. He will perish if we delay. With me. He's not alone. Kill them all. My thanks. Another moment and I wouldn't have... He's been too long in the cold. We must find shelter for him. Monument Tower, you say? Very well. Ida and I shall bear him there with all haste. Sid'll be so happy to see Biggs and Wedge again. Aw, I love reunions. I cannot thank you enough, Tolucc, and the same goes for the rest of you. Thank you all so much. Oh, don't mention it. We are family, are we not? Well, yes, it's just, I didn't think I'd ever see him again. I owe the lot of you my life. And you saved Wedges too, Tolucc. I'm losing count of how many times I owe you. Biggs, Wedge, God, it's good to see the two of you again. Chief, it's really you. In our hearts, we knew you were still alive, but to finally see you in the flesh. When Alphinaud told me about the raid on the Waking Sands, I feared the worst. What happened? The enemy snuck in an area warning. We didn't stand a chance. Wedge and I were in the workshop when they came. Before we knew what was happening, the Imperials had us at gunpoint. It must have been awful. There's one thing I don't understand, though. How did the Garleans get there so fast? I mean, the Immortal Flame should have seen them coming, right? I myself had asked the same question. That day when I returned to the carnage at the Waking Sands, I noted not a miss in horizon. Nothing at all to suggest the passing of an Imperial force. From this, I conclude that the Garleans came neither by land nor by air. Nay, they were born there by potent teleportation magics. Magics of the kind used by the Asians. Carry on. We were bound and blindfolded and bundled into the cargo bay of a waiting airship. I can't rightly say how long we were aboard, but when time came for us to disembark, we found ourselves in the midst of an Imperial stronghold, Castrum Sentry. Upon arrival, we were marched off into the main complex. Biggs and I were thrown into a detainment cell together while Minfilia and the others were taken elsewhere. That's when the last we heard of them. Castrum Sentry. What happened next? Well, we were held in isolation for what felt like years, but was probably moons, or maybe only weeks. And then, without warning, the Imperials collected the pair of us and put us on another vessel, which we found was bound for Garlemald. Much to our dread, we knew that if we were taken back there, we weren't going to leave again. So risky though it was, we sabotaged the ship's altitude control and thereby forced an emergency landing. And in the midst of the ensuing chaos, we managed to slip our captors. The rest, as to say, is history. If I didn't know better, I'd call that a likely story. Sabotaging the altitude controls of an airborne vessel? That will have been Biggs' handiwork, like as not. You always were resourceful in a tight spot, my friend. Tolucc, thank you for returning my dear assistance to me. It would seem I owe you another debt of gratitude. There are still many questions in my mind, but answers can wait. Minfilia and the others still wait for our rescue. Alright, you lot. Garland Ironworks is back in business. Let's go and give those Imperials what for. Hurrah! Sid wants to prepare a strategy to rescue Minfilia and the other Scions. Thanks to you, Biggs and Wedge are with us again. Now we must find a way to rescue Minfilia and the others. Gods know we've been kept waiting too long already. Based on what we've learned, I believe it's safe to say that they're being held at Castrum Sentry. So let us convene at Revenant's Toll in Mordona. 'Tis a good place as any to prepare and better than most. The road leading east and south will get you there. When we arrive, let us seek the advice of a local adventurer. We're bound to learn a thing or two that'll benefit our mission. Well met, friend. What brings you to Revenant's Toll? Did I hear you rightly? Your friends are being held captive at Castrum Sentry and you want to rescue them? I don't mean to discourage you, but that might prove difficult. The stronghold has been on high alert of late, with armored patrols seen about the perimeter around the clock. Not even a fly could get in without 100 yalms of walls undetected. If the Garleans were alerted to our coming, we cannot know what they will do to Minfilia and the others. We must act with the greatest stealth. Aye. It has to be the good old-fashioned infiltration. But with security so tight, how are we going to smuggle ourselves in? Why, I have a mind to walk through the door. The front door? We'll disguise ourselves as Imperial troops and march right in. For this, we'll need a few sets of Imperial uniforms, a suit of Magitech armor, and impeccable timing. That's a bold strategy, but it just might work. Where we are, there's certainly no shortage of opportunities to borrow the equipment. Knowing those Imperial bastards, they won't even suspect that we savage Azorians would think to use their technology. Then it's settled. If you're determined to go ahead with this, I'd recommend you speak with Glomwood. The fellow's got a personal grudge against the Empire and happens to know a deal about Castrum Sentry besides. I've no doubt that he'd want to be of aid. Eda and I shall go to reconnoiter Garlean activity at the stronghold. And it would not do if something were to befall our comrades before we had the chance to act. Come and join us when you're ready, Tolucc. Let's do this. Sometimes I wonder, Eda, are there ever times when you are not enthused? I'm nothing if not enthused, Ishtola, and you're beginning to remind me of Papalimo. Looking for Glomwood, are you? Well, you found him, whoever you are. You're looking to get inside Castrum Sentry and you need my help? Something tells me that we're not going to get along just fine. Glomwood would like to aid you in your mission to rescue the captured Scions. So you have friends at Castrum Sentry that want for rescue? That Slackborn knows me too well. You can count on my help. I've got a score to settle with the Imperials and I ain't never passed the opportunity to get back at the Horsens. But enough talk about me. Let's talk strategy. Rescuing folk from captivity is right delicate business. A single oversight, just one little blunder, and it's all over. Can't leave any room for uncertainty. For starters, you need to confirm beyond the shadow of a doubt that your friends are where they think you are. You don't want to risk your neck only to discover that they've been moved elsewhere. But how can you find out, you ask? By following these instructions. If you approach Sentry from the east, you'll see a swampland to your left, called Tangle. Get in there, never mind all the mobiles, and navigate your way to the southwestern corner. You'll come upon some drainage pipes coming down from the stronghold. Don't ask me how I know, but one of them leads up to the command tower. If you listen closely, it might be as you eavesdrop on some of the happenings within. Once we know for certain your friends are there, we'll move to the next stage of the operation. Now get going and Godspeed. What of the captive? Does she still refuse to speak? She may as well be a deaf mute for all the information we've gotten out of her. The others aren't much better. The Elzen gets on my nerves most of all. Every time he opens his mouth, it's only to spout gibberish. I do wonder why is the Tribunus so obsessed with this Minfilia woman. They say she possesses a mystical power, something with Garleans don't have. Mystical power? Like the kind that beastmen use? How am I supposed to bloody know? If you're so curious, why don't you go ask the Tribunus yourself? As well as try to tumble her. I like my head where it is, thank you very much. Our break is over. We best get back to our stations. It's good to see you again, Tolucc. I'm given to understand that you have conducted some reconnaissance. Tell me, what were you able to learn? So Minfili and the others are indeed at Castrum Sentry? Their presence thus confirmed. We may proceed with the mission. While you were afield, Sid took the liberty of devising a plan of action. Pray have the details from him. Good work, Tolucc. As Alphino has already told you, we've plotted out a course for the rescue. The gist of it is unchanged. We disguise ourselves as Imperial soldiers and infiltrate the stronghold. Galamon is looking into ways to procure a suit of Magitech armor. In the meantime, I need your assistance for some preparation of my own. When Phil and the others are counting on us, Tolucc, let's not keep them waiting any longer than necessary. Sid requires your assistance for his rescue preparation. While Glanamut goes about devising his plan, we need to see some preparation of our own. It wouldn't do if the Imperials were to discover that we're short in armor. To prevent this from happening, I'm going to put together a makeshift communications jamming device. The explanation is like to get a bit technical, so bear with me. Imperial forces communicate at distance via electromagnetic waves. Simply put, voices are born upon etheric lightning energy that permeates the air. Now, the hill-sized cluster of corrupted crystals that to the west has been observed to amplify the self-same energy. By making use of this property, we should be able to drown out Imperial voices. To ensure that we have enough amplification, we must identify the most potent crystals among the cluster. For this, I need you to go there and use the device to take readings. I'll mark the likely places on your map. Oh, and just so you know, plasmoids are drawn to lightning energy. Don't be surprised if you run into a few. You have the readings? Excellent. Here, let me see the numbers. Yes, 4 of these crystals should suit our purpose, though I pray that we won't have need of their power. My thanks, Tolucc. Womet wants you to practice the part of Imperial Trooper. Clean the wax out of your ears now, because there's something I want you to do by way of preparation. The plan's to have you enter Castrum Sentry all decked out in Imperial duds, but a disguise is more than just the clothes you're wearing. You also gotta act the part. At the very least, you need to know how to perform a convincing Imperial salute. First impressions are everything, as they say. I could teach you to salute myself, of course, but it's best you learned it from the experts. So get yourself near, as you dare, to Castrum Sentry and watch the Imperials doing what they doing. Nothing to report, sir. We have received an anonymous warning that insurgents' forces are near. We must redouble our vigilance. I shall recommend that patrols be increased. So, did you manage to learn the Imperial salute? No. Best you don't demonstrate. I'm liable to fly into a rage and crack skulls. I'll just take your word for it. Sark Malark wishes to help you acquire the disguises you need for your rescue mission. You are called Tolucc, yes? I have heard of your plight from my friend Gallant. As a fellow adventurer and son of Eorzea both, I would offer you my assistance. In order to infiltrate Castrum Sentry, you and your comrades must disguise yourselves as Imperial soldiers. The question is how to go about acquiring the uniforms and helms. There are places a man might purchase them, but individuals who deal in such wares are not the sort of whom you'd entrust your secrets. It would be more prudent, I believe, to procure what you need via traditional means, from the bodies of their recently deceased owners. The fortified area beyond Castrum Sentry never lacks for Imperial patrols. It ought not take too long to obtain 3 sets a year, one for each member of the infiltrations team, Biggs, Wedge, and yourself. When you have what you need, please return here and allow me to inspect the spoils. Were you able to obtain 3 sets of Imperial equipment? Damaged, as I had suspected. In the present condition, I fear these uniforms and helms are like to draw suspicion. They must be repaired, if only superficially. Fortunately, the blacksmith Eganolf at the Diamond Forge in Rowena's House of Splendors should be able to hammer them into shape in no time. I've already sent word ahead and have been assured that he is expecting you. Worry not. We have already impressed upon him the needs for the utmost secrecy as to the nature of your mission. So you're the adventurer Sark Malark sent, are you? I've been waiting for you. Now let's see what you got for me. I see. Oh, yes. I reckon I can hammer these back into shape for you. After all, I owe your friend Sark Malark a favor or two. Took good care of old Eganolf back in the days before I fell in with old Rowena. He did. Did you know he's the son of one of the wealthiest families in the Sultanate? Wouldn't expect someone like that to end up in the life he did, but I suppose he's always felt the venturing's life calling him. But here I go blabbering on with when there's work to be done. Just hold your horsebirds for a moment or two and the great Eganolf will have your gear looking good as new. And there we have it. Won't do you much good in battle, mind you, but from what I hear, that's not the priority anyhow. Do send Sark Malark my words, would you? Have you had the uniforms and helms repaired? Yes, these will serve beautifully. The great Eganolf never fails to impress. The quality of these repairs would fool even a legatus. Thus equipped, you shouldn't have not any trouble blending in amongst the Imperial forces. Lest you fear that the Garleans might detect your foreignness, foreigners in fact form the greater part of the Garlean invasion force in Ezoria. You see, when the Empire subjugates new territory, it assimilates the people of that land into armed forces. In turn, these conscripted forces are sent to subjugate faraway lands. In this way, Garlemald nips rebellions in the bud and expands its territory in one fell stroke. With that, my part in your mission is done. I'm full glad to have been an assistance to your cause. Why would I, a wealthy merchant, wish to help you? I know not where you heard such a tale, but believe me when I say that I am not but another humble adventurer, one who desires only to act in the best interests of the realm. The Lummut has finally devised a plan to appropriate a suit of Magitech armor. Good work getting them Imperial duds. You'll be pleased to hear I ain't been idle myself. It took me long enough, but I finally hatched a plan to get us a suit of Magitech armor. Now, from what I've seen, Castrum Sentry deploys a Reaper for most of its patrols. Trouble is, the patrols themselves are irregular, meaning random routes and random deployments, and hardly any of them come anywhere near Revenant's Troll. So hoping to coax the Imperials out of their shells, I took the liberty of feeding them a bit of old false intelligence. Told them insurgents had designs on their stronghold. Ain't far from the truth now, I come to think of it, any road. We should start seeing more patrols than we have up till now. What you need to do is approach one of those patrols dressed up in your shiny tin suit and alert them to the enemy's presence. Having done that, you'll want to lure them as near as you can to the Revenant's Toll as you can. Like as not though, they'll be wary of venturing far from their own walls. If they do need a bit of extra encouragement, use this smoke signal here. Filch fresh from an Imperial scout. They'll come running when they see that. And when the cavalry arrives, you hit them hard and make off with their Reaper. Simple as that. If I ain't mistaken, there's a patrol sweeping the perimeter right now. So run along, eh? And don't forget your salute. One of our covert operatives, are you? Carry on, soldier. Insurgents gathering to the east, you say? Judging by your description, they are well beyond the perimeter. But I will not have said it that I was remiss. You, return to the scene and keep an eye on those insurgents. Should Otgo already use the smoke signals, call us. I hope you don't mind me joining. Seeing as ours were seizing advanced weaponry, I thought it best to lend a hand. Ah, there she is. This is the place, but where's the enemy? Sir, over there. Send in the Reaper. Let us make an example of these insurgents. At last, our very own suit of Magitech armor. Not wishing to look a gift Chocobo in the beak, but it does seem rather worse for wear, doesn't it? Biggs, Wedge, what's your honest assumption? Well, there's the fact she's smoking, of course, but looking past that, I'd say she's structurally sound. I don't like the way these legs are buckled. I hate to say this, but the servo mechanism may be damaged. But aren't those things protected by thick armor plates? They are, yes. It's odd. The casing doesn't have taken a blow. I suspect we're dealing with a faulty part. Well, whatever it is we're dealing with, we're not resting till it's fixed. Not 1 week of sleep. You got that, Wedge? Oh, I'll get her a rain cart, Chocobo. I heard that. The hall has been set aside for our use in Revenant's Toll. That's where we'll carry out the repairs. Look for us there, Tolucc. The Magitech armor. Sid and the others took it inside. Go on and join them. We've now had time to take a closer look at the Reaper. Our preliminary diagnosis was correct. She's structurally sound, but her servo mechanism is faulty. You needn't worry though, Biggs and Wedge will see her restored to her former glory in no time at all. Give those two something to mend and they will think of naught else to do till the job's done. 'Tis a marvelous thing to behold, provided you remind them to visit the privy. Sid would have you assist in the repair of the Magitech armor. The repairs are proceeding apace. It shouldn't be long now before Biggs and Wedge complete their work. There is, however, one small problem. As you may recall, the machine's servo mechanism was diagnosed to be faulty. Wedge has subsequently ascertained that the Magitech core which drives it is worn beyond use. Such cores are rather fragile devices which must be placed at regular intervals. Thanks to the negligence of our Imperial colleagues, however, this one used in the Reaper was long overdue. Alas, we don't have access to a ready replacement here in Mordona, but all is not lost. Wedge thinks he may have identified an alternative solution. Go and see him, would you? He'll explain the details to you. As I believe the Chief has already informed you, the Magitech core is worn beyond use. We need to find a replacement. I thought about having you appropriate more Reapers, but even if the Dunderhead maintenance engineers at Castrum Sentry had remembered to replace the cores, we would be risking arousing Imperial suspicion. But do not despair, for I believe there's a solution to substitute the Magitech core with a Mammoth heart. In case you don't know, a Mammoth heart can be used to grant sentience to an automatron. By my reckoning, such a device should be more than capable of regulating the armor's servo mechanism. We'll just need to make some minor modifications to the housing unit. I already placed an order for the first-rate Mammoth heart with the Goldsmiths Guild. All that remains is for someone to go to Ulda and collect it. Oh, and to pay for it. Did I mention how much they cost? No? Well, they typically cost something in the order of, I hope you don't mind footing the bill. It's all for a good cause. Hello there. Come to collect the Mammoth heart, you say? Then you must be on behalf of Garlorn Ironworks. I've taken the liberty of picking the finest example we have, a heart fit for the prince amongst the mammoths. Payment? Oh, that won't be necessary. The heart is for Master Alphino's personal use, after all. He notified us a short while ago that his servant would be coming to collect it. Tender in years though he may be, Master Alphino has been a benefactor of ours since my predecessor's time. The Goldsmiths Guild wouldn't dream of charging him. But here's the Mammoth heart. May it serve you well. Oh, and please do pass on my compliments to your master. Want to go in? It hardly needs saying, but try not to be seen. Do you have the Mammoth heart? I can't wait to see if it works. Hurrah! Thanks so much. But this is magnificent. It must have cost an emperor's ransom. Free of charge, courtesy of Alphino, coming from an influential family certainly has its advantages. But without further ado, let's give it a try. I've already modified the housing unit, so it should slot right in. There, she's ready. Magitech armor engage. Or not. Haha, ha. She just needs a love and tap, I'll wager. Yes, she's alive. Let's take her outside and put her through her paces. Tolucc, would you care to do the honors? Hop into the pilot's seat. We'll begin as soon as you're ready. First, I'd like to try climbing that tangle of crystals yonder, as far up as you can go. Oh, and if for some reason you start to dismount, simply come back here and we'll start again. No anomalous movements? Evident from either leg. Good. Next, jump back down and then sprint north, quick as you can. Leg joints absorbing all impact without incident? Excellent. Please, make your way back, Tolucc. The torso remains stable during vigorous motion. Excellent. And that concludes our test. Thank you for your cooperation. Here's a summary of my findings. The drivetrain is in sound condition. With some fine-tuning, we can expect a noticeable improvement in performance. As for the servo mechanism, I'm afraid it's not nearly as responsive as it should be, and I'm at a loss to explain why. The mammoth heart is in pristine condition and should be installed correctly. Perhaps its inner workings are simply too different to operate harmoniously with the armor's other mechanisms? Whereas Magitech cores serve only to conduct impulses, mammoth hearts enables automata to process the information collected by their sensors as feelings. Maybe she just doesn't feel like part of the team, in which case we should do all we can to make her best feel welcome. Like... Daft as it felt, I gave it my best welcome. I welcomed myself to a bloody standstill. What were you expecting to do anyway? Bob us a curtsy? No doubt you're wondering why the servo mechanism is so important as to warrant this silliness. Without it, the pilot would be required to control the armor's every movement manually. This would be an enormous task at the best of times and wholly impractical during battle. Using a mammoth heart in place of the worn Magitech core seemed like a promising solution. Alas, the device does not appear to be compatible with Garlean technology. Wedge, are there other ways we might demonstrate our appreciation to our friend here? I'm at my wit's end, Chief. She just doesn't seem convinced. We could try a little dance, perhaps, or cheer our heads off. Imperials! They've come for the armor. Damn it, they have us cornered. There's the Reaper. Taken by the traitor Garland. And is that an Icon Slayer? Oh, bollocks. Call for reinforcements. The hells you will. We've located the stolen Reaper. Requesting immediate assistance. Respond! Respond! It's no use, sir. There's some sort of interference. Curse you, Garland! No matter. If we can't reclaim it, destroy it! Bloody hells, Tolucc. Protect the armor at all costs. Chief, look, she moved. Ah, now she deigns to grace us with her presence. Took us a good while, but we're finally ready. It's time to infiltrate Castrum Sentry and rescue our comrades. There, the finishing touch. The servo mechanism is now fully functional, and all it took was a simple fight to the death. Remind me not to install a mammoth heart aboard the Enterprise, would you? Much as I love her, I'd rather not be required to profess it before boarding. But enough of that. Let us see to our final preparations. Thanks to Biggs and Wedge, the Reaper is as good as new. We're prepared to go as like are to get.